जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन। जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व। जय राधे जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। जय राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम। जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय शीला प्रभुपाद। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय शीला प्रभुपाद। Thank you. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस पारिव्राजकाचार्य अस्तोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमान हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Asotara Sata Shri Shriman His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I offer my most humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas, humbly begging for their merciful blessings, especially my seniors, to bless me so that I may be able to do justice to this instruction and order given by my Gurudev to give class and enliven the devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So yesterday, after a very wonderful class by His Grace Adi Purush Prabhu, we are now moving on to verse number 29, I believe. But before that, we will be reading some verses which do not have purports. So we will simply read the English translation. Is that how you'll do it? Okay. So text number 26. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shukadev Goswami. Do you read the Sanskrit also? Is that how you'll do it? Huh? Okay. Shri Shuka Uvacha iti devan samadishya bhagavan purushottamaha tesham antardade rajan swachanda gatir ishvaraha. Shukadev Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, after advising the demigods in this way, the independent, supreme personality of Godhead, the best of all living entities, disappeared from their presence. Text 27. Atha tasmai bhagavate namaskritya pitamaha bhavascha jagmatu swam dhamopeyur balim suraha. Then Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, after offering their respectful obeisances to the Lord, returned to their abodes. All the demigods then approached Maharaj Bali. Text 28. Drishtvarin api asamyattan Jatakshobhan Swanayakan Nyashe Daityarat Shlokyaha Sandhi Vigraha Kalavit. So please repeat this verse after me. Drishtvarin, is that how we do it? No, I repeat 3 times, sorry. Drishtvarin apis asamyattan Jatakshobhan Swanayakan Nashye daityarat shlokyaha sandhi vigraha kalavet drishtvarin api as. Don't you repeat after me? Oh, right. I'm sorry for being distracted. Drishtvarin api asamyatan jatakshobhan swanayakan Nashedad daityarat shlokya Sandhi vigraha kalavit Drishtvarin apyasam asamyatan Jatakshobhan swanayakan Nashedad daityarat shlokya Sandhi vigraha kalavit Drishtvarin apyasam yatan Jatakshobhan swanayakan Nashedad daityarat shlokya Sandhi Vigraha Kalavet. Ishvarenapya Samyattan. Akshan Sanayakan. Ishvarenapya Samyattan. Atasobhya Sanayakan. Ladies, Drishtvarenapya Samyatan Jatashobhan Sanayakan Nasheda Daitya Ratslokya Sandhi Vigraha Kalavet. Thank you, Vala. Drishtva, observing. Aaron, the enemies. Api, although. Asamyatan, without any endeavor to fight. Jatak Shobhan, who became agitated. Swanayakan, his own captains and commanders. Nashedhat, prevented. Daityarat, the emperor of the Daityas, Maharaj Bali. Shlokya, very respectable and prominent. Sandhi, for making negotiations. Vigraha, as well as for fighting. Kala, the time. With, completely aware of. Translation: Maharaj Bali, a most celebrated king of the demons, knew very well when to make peace and when to fight. Thus, although his commanders and captains were agitated and were about to kill the demigods, Maharaj Bali, seeing that the demigods were coming to him without a militant attitude, forbade his commanders to kill them. Purport: Vedic etiquette enjoins Grihe Shatrum api praptam Vishwastam akuto bhayam. When enemies come to their opponent's place, they should be received in such a way that they will forget that there is animosity between the two parties. Bali Maharaj was well conversant with the arts of peacemaking and fighting. Thus, he received the demigods very well, although his commanders and captains were agitated. This kind of treatment was prevalent even during the fight between the Pandavas and the Kurus. During the day, the Pandavas and Kurus would fight with the utmost strength, and when the day was over, they would go to each other's camps as friends and be received as such. During such friendly meetings, one enemy would offer anything the other enemy wanted. That was the system. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. So we have a very interesting purport over here which talks about the Vedic system, the Vedic culture, the Vedic etiquette that was maintained by the kings of yore. We have very beautiful examples in the scriptures, and today, to illustrate this verse, I'm going to speak about these incidents which happened during the Mahabharata war at Kurukshetra, where the enemy actually gave away weapons, things that were actually going to destroy them. Still, they gave it away because the other person asked. One such example is a very interesting example. I will talk about Karna also. Karna was also a very, very charitable person. But here, first, I will begin with Duryodhan. Now, Duryodhan, as we all know, was the head of the Kurus, and he was very intent on usurping the kingdom of the Pandavas. This is how this war happened. And this war was going on, and they were fighting and fighting and fighting. And as the war was progressing, one day the Kauravas were really, really taking a beating. And so, crestfallen, dejected, feeling defeated, feeling very depressed, who goes and complains? Duryodhan. He goes to Bhishma and he says, Bhishma, we are not winning the war because you are siding with the Pandavas secretly. You have a soft corner for them, and so you're not fighting to your utmost strength. That is how this is happening. Bhishma flies into a rage. He's very angry at being accused like this. He takes 5 golden arrows and he utters some sacred mantras and he says, tomorrow I will kill all the 5 Pandavas by the strength of these golden arrows. And of course, he has imbued them with all his own personal strength, etc. Duryodhan is thrilled beyond words. Tomorrow they will be finished. Wow, I'm going to win the war. And he's very clever. He's very, very sharp. And he says, I'm going to keep these 5 golden arrows with me for safekeeping. He wants to make very sure those 5 golden arrows are safe and nothing happens to them. So Bhishma says, all right, take the arrows. Now Krishna knows everything, right? Whatever is happening. He is knower of past, present, future. And he understands 5 golden arrows are ready to kill the Pandavas. I've got to do something. So he tells Arjuna, Arjuna, go to the opposite camp and ask for those 5 golden arrows from Duryodhan. Now this is interesting. Arjuna had rescued Duryodhan when they were in the forest. Duryodhan, being mischief maker as usual, had come there to show off with his opulent army and everything, and showed down the Pandavas. Look at you poor things, so austere, having nothing, and look at me, It's a show of strength, I want to show how mighty I am. To his chagrin, he annoyed some Gandharvas they had also come down to bathe in that particular pond, and Duryodhan was having none of it, so he engaged in a battle, and of course he lost. And here he is all bound up and going to be taken prisoner by Gandharvas, and Yudhishthir, feeling sorry for this cousin of his, tells Arjuna, Arjuna, go rescue him. So Arjuna, of course, he's a mighty archer. He rescues him and saves the situation. Duryodhan is humiliated beyond words. He's embarrassed. He came to show off, and now he has to receive mercy from the Pandavas. But in keeping with the code of honor and his position, he offers Arjuna a boon. Arjuna says, okay, I will take it, but when the time is right. So Krishna reminds him, you remember that boon? You have an unasked for boon? Now go to Duryodhan and get those 5 golden arrows. See how clever Krishna is. So Arjuna goes across and he's received very well by Duryodhan. And Duryodhan says, what can I do for you? And Arjuna said, those 5 golden arrows which you have? I want them. Duryodhan is shocked. How did he know about those 5 golden arrows which were just imbued with all Bhishma's power just like 2 hours ago? How did he know? So he asked Arjuna, how did you know about these 5 golden arrows? And Arjuna with a smile says, who else can come to my rescue except the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna? Duryodhan is really amazed how all this is happening. But he's bound by the code of honor, so he hands over those 5 arrows to Arjuna. Arjuna goes, safe now. And then Duryodhan goes running to Bhishma. This is what has happened. Bhishma starts laughing. He says, this is all happening by the supreme will of the Lord. Duryodhana says, make another 5 arrows, make another 5 arrows. And Bhishma says, sorry, not possible. I imbued those 5 arrows with my lifetime of meritorious deeds and all my merits and my lifelong celibacy. Now this was a very powerful warrior. Bhishma was a Maharathi. He was not an ordinary person. He could tackle tens of thousands of soldiers, and he had great power because he had taken this terrible vow of celibacy. You know that story, right? Shantanu and Ganga and how he... Now, a Kshatriya in those days had many wives. You know, they were very, very powerful, very opulent, and they could maintain so many wives, and they could enjoy. So when he took that vow of celibacy, it was a very severe vow. And he became extremely powerful by virtue of that vow. So imagine all those arrows were imbued with that power. And he said, sorry, I've given everything away in those arrows. There is nothing left. So Duryodhana says, all right, what can be done? But Bhishma promises him, all right, I will fight with my utmost strength, and tomorrow I will kill Arjun, or I will make Krishna break his vow. And that's another beautiful pastime, but we are not going there. We are going to talk about how, even though someone is an enemy, the code of honor was maintained. The vow, the etiquette was maintained. This was the caliber of the people. And Srila Prabhupada is trying to make us into people of caliber. This is a movement to build character. This is a movement to make perfect, gentle women and gentle ladies by keeping our vows. So I want to tell you another incident where great liberality, great charity was shown even to the enemy. And this time our hero is Karna. Who is Karna? He is also the son of Kunti, born from Surya Dev and Kunti. But because she was still Kumari, she was still a young girl in her father's palace, she was extremely, horrified at what had happened, and she put the baby Karna in a basket and sent him floating down, and he was found by a charioteer and his wife. But he is a Kshatriya. The qualities of a person you cannot hide. So he was known for being extremely liberal to Brahmins. At midday, he would chant his Gayatri, he would offer obeisances to Mother Ganga, and whatever the Brahmins asked, he would give. Now, this is happening by higher powers. What follows is actually a plan by Indra to grab his powers away. Karna was born with Kavacha and Kundal, which was made him immortal. Nobody could kill him. And this was gifted to him by the sun god Surya, his father. And that was attached to his skin. It was a metallic golden armor, but it was attached to his skin. And his earrings, his kundal, came from Amrit. They were also attached to his ears. They were not something that you take out just like that. He was born with them. And Indra knew that Karna was intent on killing his son Arjun. How did this happen? We go back in time to Draupadi's Swayamvar. Draupadi was an extremely beautiful, qualified princess, and her father, King Drupad, wanted to give her in marriage only to a very qualified prince. And in his heart, he was secretly wanting that Arjun win the hand of Draupadi. So what did he arrange? He arranged Draupadi's Swayamvar, and he put a test. What was the test? Does anybody know? A fish. Right. Thank you. So it was a very severe test. There was a shaft to which a fish was attached, and the archer had to look down in the reflection of this very fast revolving fish and shoot the arrow into the eye of the fish. Not looking at the fish, looking at the reflection of that fast revolving fish in the water. So it was a very severe test, and very few people could pass that test. So Drupad knew that only Arjun could do it. So he devised this test. But there was one more person who was a strong contender. And who was that? Karna. He was also a very powerful archer. But Drupad did not want to give his daughter in marriage to her. And Draupadi also did not want, because she said, I will not marry anybody lesser than a Kshatriya. Now this was a great insult to Karna, because he is actually a Kshatriya, but because his birth was not known, and this charioteer and very humble couple brought him up, he was disgraced and humiliated in that assembly, because they said, what is your parentage? And that was a great humiliation, because remember, Kshatriyas are very powerful. They are very prestigious people. And he was extremely humiliated by being asked his birth and, not having a Kshatriya lineage. Actually, he did have that, because he was born of Kunti and Suryadev, but nobody knew that, and he could not say that. So Duryodhan, being present and watching everything, he's a diplomat, he's a politician. Immediately he thinks, this person is my enemy's enemy. So what? I make friends with him. So then we both become friends and we both fight the enemy together. So immediately he awarded him a kingdom, and he's saying, I'm making him a prince. I'm giving him rulership of this part of the kingdom. He's a prince. They said, sorry, still it won't work. So there Karna is humiliated. And from then on, he wants revenge against Arjuna. You see? Now Indra, knowing the situation, decides to take away his kavach and kundal. At the time when he's giving charity to brahmanas, he comes disguised as a brahmana. But Suryadev, his father, already knows the plan. So the previous night, he comes in a dream to his son, and he says, tomorrow a brahmana will come and he will ask for your kavach and kundal. Do not give it to him. You know what Karna replies? Karna says, I am bound by my word of honor. I am a Kshatriya, and infamy is worse than death. My reputation is more dear to me for keeping my word of honor than my life. So whatever the Brahmin wants, I will give. So Suryadev tries to dissuade him. He says, offer him a kingdom, offer him jewels, offer him beautiful apsaras, offer him this, offer him that, but don't give your kavach and kundal. But Karna says, I will keep my word. I am a man of honor. You see, this was the code by which people adhered to, especially Kshatriyas. So then Suryadev says, all right, if you want to do that, ask for the thunderbolt weapon from Indra. At least then you will have a fighting chance. Because without the kavach, without the kundal, Karna is just like anyone else. He can be killed, right? So his father wants to protect him. And he says, at least ask for the thunderbolt weapon from Indra. Sure enough, next day, this Brahmin comes, and then he asks for charity. And now Karna says, what can I give you, dear Brahmin? What would you like to take from me? I can give you what you want. The Brahmana says, I don't want anything. I just want your kavach and kundal. Karna is amazed that what his father has said is coming true. And so again, he offers him, I'll give you kingdom, I'll give you jewels, I'll give you cows, I'll give you elephants, I'll give you palaces, I'll give you everything. No, I only want one thing and one thing only. I want your kavach, I want your kundal. Just see. Finally, this goes on a little bit, he offers more. No, I only want your kavach, I only want your kundal. So then Karna says, I am born with this. I will have to cut it from my skin. So you grant me the boon that there will be no disfigurement of my body. And I am doomed because I am giving you this. But so I am asking you for one thing, to save your reputation. Because just imagine what people are going to say, that you, a demigod, came and took away my kavach and kundal. So in exchange, I am asking you for this thunderbolt weapon. So that, because this thunderbolt weapon is so powerful, it can kill tens of thousands of soldiers. So Indra says, all right, I will give you the thunderbolt weapon, but in your hands, it can be used only once. And it can kill only one person, and then it will come back to me. Because Karna is a mortal and Indra is a demigod. So Karna agrees, and the exchange happens. His kavach and kundal is gone. And this is how Karna And then there are many curses also which Karna gets, Parshuram curses him, a Brahmana curses. So all those things add up, and then at the moment in the battlefield, he is killed. That's a different story. But see the liberality of Karna, even though he knows that his kavach and kundal make him invincible. When the Brahmana asks, he is bound by his code of honor and he gives it to him. So this is another example of extreme liberality to the enemy. Later on, Karna thinks, at least I have one weapon to kill Arjuna. But by Krishna's magic, again something else happens. Duryodhana asks him to use that weapon against Ghatotkacha, the demon son of Bhima, because he was causing great havoc on the... And so that weapon also is gone, and Karna really doesn't have anything left in his hands to fight Arjuna. So this is all Krishna's arrangement, but the point I'm trying to make is Karna gave away his kavach and kundal to the enemy. There's another very interesting story. Would you like to hear? You like these stories? Yes? Magnanimity. Yes, yes. He promises Kunti. Mm-hmm. Your sons. Yes, thank you. Yes, you'll still have 5. Or he. Very liberal. This is a story going to Ram Leela. Have you heard of the vulture bird Jatayu? Yes, Jatayu was the king of the vultures, and after Ravan had kidnapped Mother Sita and was flying away with her, she was crying out for help. She was screaming at the top of her lungs, save me, someone save me from this demon. And Jatayu, seeing her and hearing her cries, immediately rushed into battle with Ravan. A tremendous battle ensued. Though he was a vulture, he was a very powerful vulture. And he wreaked havoc on Ravan's chariot. He tore at him with his claws. He pecked him with his beaks. He tore off his left arm, all 10 of his left arms with his beak. He just decimated all his arrows and everything. Even the chariot fell down to the ground. And Ravan was amazed. This vulture bird, from where he is getting all his strength? Finally, Ravan was left with just a sword in his hand and down on the ground. So finally he asked Jatayu, I will tell you the source of my strength if you tell me the source of your strength. But this was a trick. He had no intention of telling Jatayu what is the secret of his strength. He wanted to know the secret of Jatayu's strength to kill him. Now Jatayu, being a bird of honor, whatever the enemy asks, you tell. So he told him the truth. And of course, Ravan, Jai, Shri Shri Panchatattva Bhagwan ki Jai, Kornitai ki Jai. Ravan, as we know, has no scruples whatsoever. No morals, no scruples, no ethics, no nothing. Cheating, lying is normal. So he had no intention of honoring his part of the bargain, but he only wanted to know Jatayu's strength to kill him. So Jatayu told him, my strength is in my wings. And then with his sword lopped off his wings, and Jatayu fell to the ground, fatally wounded. So you might say he was unsuccessful. But Shastra says he was supremely successful because he died fighting for dharma. He died fighting in the service of the Lord. He died looking at Lord Ram's lotus face. He died taking the name of Ram on Ram's lap. And Lord Ram was so moved by the sacrifice. And he was so grievously wounded, his life was ebbing away because the blood was just flowing. He knew he would die any moment. But he willed himself to stay alive because he knew Ram and Lakshman would be coming in search of Sita, and he wanted to tell Lord Ram what had happened, which way the demon had gone, so that Ram would know where Mother Sita had been taken. So simply by his willpower and taking the name of Ram, 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 he kept his life heirs within his body, waiting for Lord Ram to come so that he could tell him everything. And then Lord Ram's in his arms, on his lap, he gave up his body, taking the name of Ram. Ram was so moved by the tremendous sacrifice that Jatayu made. He said, "You are my father's friend. I will honor you as though you are my father." And he lit the funeral pyre for Jatayu, and with all honors, he sent him to Ayodhya. Look, nice destination, right? So this is the glorious life of those who die for the Lord. Bhakti Charu Maharaj says, a hero dies only once. A coward dies 1,000 deaths. So we want to die like that, on the battlefield, fighting for Krishna. We want to die preaching the glories of the Lord, thinking of the Lord, serving the Lord. Srila Prabhupada said, I want to die like Arjuna on the battlefield, preaching for my Lord. So we want to become the men and women that Srila Prabhupada wants us to be. We want to become people of character. We want to be people who are known to keep our word, which means we keep our vows. We keep our vows to our spiritual master. If we are initiated, we chant our 16 rounds. We maintain the 4 regulative principles. Why? Because we want to become men and women of character. This movement is meant for building character and making perfect gentlemen and gentle women. Right? Yes. Why? Because this movement is teaching people how to be, how to live, how to conduct themselves, and how to fulfill the purpose of life, to go back home, back to Godhead. And the world is on fire. The world is watching. The world needs help. And who is giving this help? Lord Chaitanya's movement. This is the shining light in this dark age of Kali. Srila Prabhupada said, historians will note that this is the movement that saved the world in its darkest hour. Now, who does the movement consist of? You and me. So we have got to do this work. We are not perfect. We are not great. We are not, men and women of character still, at least personally speaking. But we want to strive for that, so that we become noble, saintly people that other people can learn from and take us as good examples of how to live life, how to conduct oneself, and how to die gloriously. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj said, we must know how to live, we must know how to die. First, let's know how to live properly. That's the most important thing, right? So this is a movement for building character, and we need to learn this knowledge. Shilpa Vidya, we all can get that. We can be carpenters, plumbers, engineers, doctors, this, that. That is Shilpa Vidya. You can get by with that, but you can't get back with that. For getting back to Godhead, we need Raja Vidya. Raja Vidya Rajaguyam. What is that? Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshāvagam Dharmam Susukham Kartumavyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets, because it gives direct knowledge of the self by self-realization. It is perfection of religion, and it is eternal and joyfully performed. So we have been given, dear brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and sons and daughters, we have been given the perfect process to attain perfection by the perfect devotee of the Lord who came down to save this world from degradation, from going berserk, which it already is, by the way. The world is in a very precarious condition. All around we can see mental health problems increasing, families breaking up, people shooting each other, going nuts. Look at the environmental crisis, what is happening to Mother Earth. So there's an urgent need for Krishna consciousness. An urgent need for exemplary devotees who are walking their walk, who are talking the talk. I mean, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. So we want to become exemplary people so that we can be shining examples in society. Yes, these are people who keep their word. These are people who live by their code of honor. These are people who maintain morals, ethics, spiritual codes of religion. Then people will say, oh yeah, there's something over here. And they might think of joining and following. But if we are loose, lackadaisical, everything is okay, even this is okay, even that is okay, all this, new fads, which we have. You can do this also, you can do that also, you can do that also, you can do this also. You can go to the movies once in a while. You can, have a little nice time. No, it doesn't work like that. We have to follow the process. We have to take the medicine as the physician, the supreme physician, Krishna, and his pure devotee have given it. We have to take the medicine so that we can get well. If we want to be materialistically sick, then we can continue to do half-hearted stuff. But that is not going to be helpful to us. We are neither here nor there. If you want to be a materialist, then be a super great materialist and do something for Krishna. If you have one foot in one boat and one foot in another boat, you can't do either one properly. So we want to become the devotee that Srila Prabhupada, our Guru Maharaj, is happy with and proud of, because this is the way we are going to advance also. If we want to make advancement, we follow the process. And for following the process, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, hare-rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everything is there in Srila Prabhupada's books. Srila Prabhupada said, my books will be the law books for the next 10,000 years. This is how important it is to read, understand, digest, apply, and practice what has been given in Srila Prabhupada's books, because this is what is going to change our character. Transformation has to take place in the heart. Cheto darpanam arjanam, bhava maha davagni nirvapanam. So we want that transformation to take place by engaging very sincerely in the process of bhakti-yoga and becoming exemplary devotees. So thank you all very much for listening very patiently. We will open up for questions, comments, realizations, and corrections. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for your wonderful and inspiring lecture. I wanted to ask, what if, I don't have enemies, but what if one who once were my friends, or I consider them friends, hurt me, did I have to be, it's proper to be cautious and keep friendly distance and not to want to be friend with them, only to keep friendly distance? They are not enemies, but...
Well, we want to protect our spiritual life. And for protecting our spiritual life, we have to be at peace. So if someone is being emotionally or mentally harmful or hurtful, we have to see, is this a pattern? Is this a repeated thing, or it's a one-off thing? Because I might, when I'm stressed or nervous or hungry, I might make a mistake, right? I might snap at you and say, why did you do that? Why did you? But if it's a habitual angry response every time I'm stressed, people are going to say, okay, keep away, right? So you must observe this person if they have been apologetic after doing what they did. If they have said, I'm so sorry that happened, I didn't mean to be rude to you, or I didn't mean to hurt you like that, then there is some chance that this person is genuinely feeling something, and you may want to give them another chance. But if you see no remorse, no apology, repeated, pattern of behavior where not just you, they're hurting other people too, again and again and again, then you just respectfully keep distance, because this is a toxic person. Remember, people who are hurting, who are miserable, they inflict pain and hurt on others. Hurting people hurt other people. So we need to address that hurt which is inside of them, whatever it may be, trauma, maybe they have been subjected to abuse. But that's not your problem. You're not their therapist, you're their friend. But you can pray for them, and yes, you may have to keep respectful distance just for your own sanity, just to protect your own spiritual life. Thank you. But Srila Prabhupada said Vaishnava is kind even to his enemies. So we are always kind and respectful even with people who are inimical towards us, as far as we can be. Thank you. Good question. Yes, Adipurush Prabhu. It's an honor to have you and senior devotees with us, gracing us with your presence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your such relevant stories from the Mahabharata and Ramayana. And I have a question. Now it says that we should greet even enemies cordially. These stories are showing. On the other hand, what if somebody comes and insults Krishna as a Mayavadi, or as somebody comes to the temple and insults Krishna, for example, says something bad about Krishna, insults the devotees. How do we behave in that case?
Srila Prabhupada was very, very, very tolerant and very, very, very liberal. But philosophical deviation, Srila Prabhupada was like fire. No philosophical deviations allowed. So if somebody is starting to talk Mayavadi stuff, we gently escort them out of the temple and we say, sorry, you cannot speak all this here. This is not permitted because we worship the personal form of the Lord. Krishna is a person. This is very offensive to talk of him as no hands, no legs, no eye. What nonsense this is. So we don't tolerate all this nonsense. In fact, we take a very strong stand against it. And we say, nothing doing. You want to talk all this stuff? Please leave. Go outside and do it. Not here. We have no hesitation in driving these people out because we don't want that poison coming here. And we don't want them to make such offenses to the deity form of the Lord. I know that sounds severe, but nothing less than that will be right, because here's the Supreme Lord, and we cannot allow this kind of insults and offense to happen, especially in the temple room, which is a sacred space. Anything else? Your question is so interesting. It is reminding me of, shall I relate this little incident? On the personal level, how we must be very tolerant. We can take a stand when it's the Lord or a devotee. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada was Lion Guru. He was very, very strong. But there was one person who would come to his classes and heckle, criticize, ridicule, taunt, what not. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj's disciples were fuming. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj tolerated him. He would keep showing up, at different places, and he would heckle. And then one fine day, this person died. The disciples were ecstatic. They went running and they told, oh, he's dead now, he's gone. That nuisance, that horrible, was insulting our Guru Maharaj, who was heckling him, who was this. And Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj started crying. He said, my best friend has died. He kept me humble. So see, Mahabhagavat, how exemplary they are. When it comes to personal insults, they are very tolerant. They accept whatever, insults, dishonor, everything, because they are only placed in service of the Lord. So they don't take any personal dishonor and insult as anything. And on the other hand, he says, my best friend has died. Just see the level of thinking, just see the caliber, because he is Ray of Vishnu. He's come from the personal entourage of the Lord. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. He was a Vaikuntha man. So we can learn from all these examples, what is nobility? What is true saintliness? These are the qualities that we can read about and pray to the Lord that someday, my dear Lord, please help me overcome all these nasty anarthas that I have at present and help me become a better devotee in your service. So, thank you. Very nice question. Whenever you ask questions, I'm already, you spark so many other wonderful things that I can remember and share. So, thank you very much. It's very nice. Anything else anybody would like to say? Are we done for today? All right. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Did you want to say something, Prabhu? Yeah, you looked like you wanted to say something.
You were speaking about Karna, and I've asked this question, Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, why was he, but Adipurusha says no harm in asking again another person, so we can combine all the views. And so why was he perceived so negatively from Yudhishthira? You were praising him now, and we found some examples of his behavior which are exemplary. And why was Yudhishthira judging him so harshly? He was calling him the most wicked one. We have to stop this, the most wicked one. And he on several through the whole Mahabharata, actually, Yudhishthira, who was otherwise very tolerant and protecting Duryodhana from his brothers and everybody else in different situations, but he was quite harsh in judging Karna. And Kadambakana Maharaj said that ultimately Karna wasn't a devotee. He was stuck with his false ego issue. And that was Yudhishthira's criticism was directed towards that, probably. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I have to read up about this. So I cannot comment because I have not gone in depth into these conversations that Yudhishthira had, or I have not read the criticism that Yudhishthira had against Karna. So please forgive me. I cannot comment on this until I learn about it myself. Thank you. Okay, so thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Guru Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.